Okay, I'm moving to my next question. Like as a developer, we have to use API. So for the API fetching, which feature do you like using UseEffect or and Axios? Like how they work at a time.
Our e-commerce project is using, and I'm using Next.js. So UseEffect is a React feature that we can use UseEffect to handle our API request because it is a side effect. And Axios is a HTTP request library that we can use to simplify our API request. So if I'm using React, most of the time I'm using UseEffect and Axios, both to make API calls. And with Next.js, if I have some client components, that means our data, a page, or maybe a component is a client component, then I'm using UseEffect and Axios with it. But if maybe it is a server component, or maybe I'm using server side rendering or static side generation, then I use the GetServerSideProps or get static props, those functions that Next.js provide, and I use those to fetch the data. And in that case, I do not use UseEffect. For example, in the product page, we wanted to make SEO optimization for our product page. So for that case, I didn't use UseEffect. That means I used server component, and I used get static data method of Next.js to get the API data.
Okay, like I have a question regarding this. Like inside the UseEffect, we have to use the Axios, right?
Yes.
Like there is a JavaScript method, fetch method. So what is the difference between Axios and fetch? Because both of are using for fetching the data.
Yes, so Fetch is a browser API that is provided by browser, and it only works on JavaScript environments or browsers. But we also had previously had another method that is called HTTP uh, HTTP request method. I don't really remember that method properly. So Axios under the hood uses that, and it works as a wrapper. That means it makes the API calling easier, right? If we are using fetch, we have to define everything. Like if we are sending something in the API's body, we have to define the data, and we have to define the application type with each request. And if we have any headers, we have to manually send headers with each API request if we are using fetch. And also, after we get the API data, we get it from in JSON format. Then we have to parse that data. Then we'll get the data. That means there are a lot of steps if we are using fetch. So Axios actually makes it very simple to add your data, your body data during your API request, and we can also use Axios interceptors like the request interceptor to add maybe some authentication to the authentication header manually, so we do not have to add it with each request. And also with Axios, we we do not have to parse the JSON data because Axios already does that under the hood. So that are some of the advantages we have. I got from using Axios.
Yes, like Axios by default it provides headers. So inside the headers you can send the token very easily, but in the page you have to do a lot of things to send something in the headers. So that's why third-party library helps us to develop very easily. Thank you for your answer.
Yes, we are going to use the authentication tool, like when we will be building the authentication part, and we'll be making some API routes private. We will use this feature, Axios headers authorization headers feature, to store our to send our authentication token with each request.
Mm.